She's so lovely. Okay. So I hope Bob joins us.
Yeah.
But we are currently just 5 of us here, which is fine. Paul and MS. And
If you want me to, I can call him.
sure, that'd be fine.
Okay, second, I'm pulling up his. Bob O'Connell. There you go.
I'm sorry I missed your call. Please leave a message.
Okay, try his mobile phone.
Hello.
Bob, David, are you going to join us for the elected versus
I
appointed?
would love to, but I can't figure out how to get on.
Are
There's
you,
no link anywhere.
there's a link. Maureen sent around, or it came around from somewhere, a link for today's meeting came around a few minutes.
On the
before.
agenda. It's on the agenda.
Well, no, but there's another separate link that came more recently. It should be at the top of your inbox, Bob.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
It's also on your calendar.
Yeah, it's always in the calendar.
Well,
Yeah.
some people, Bob, you've got 3 places to look, your calendar and your inbox and at the minutes or the agenda, which might be hard.
My calendar doesn't even have the meeting.
Yeah, I don't use the calendar either, so.
Mine
Look
won't
at-
open.
Oh, well, to each his own.
Yeah.
There is nothing to do about. What you have is the meeting ID number.
Well, Maureen, he says he has the meeting ID number, so what does he do with that?
Click on that. Click on that. That should be
What happened?
hyperlink.
I think click on it instead, nothing goes. That's on the agenda.
Yeah,
David-
it's on the agenda under join Zoom meeting.
Or David, just read the number to him.
Oh, how about if we read the number to
Well,
you?
he's got the number, but if it's not,
I do have the number. Let me try again. I gotta get in. I gotta get back in.
He's trying.
I'm Hasselblad. I was probably trying to get in, but I've not been able to figure out a way. It's not even on my calendar. It's very, very strange. So, okay. Boy, let's see now. Yeah, try and find that where I got the agenda in the first place. That would be Morningside sent out.
You know, strange things happen with this email.
yes.
Like the thing I clicked on this morning, just now, 5 minutes ago, to join this meeting that I clicked on is now disappeared from my inbox.
It's in, you know where it goes? It goes to delete. I don't know
Well,
why.
I see it in there. I did look at deleted and it's not there.
Maureen,
No.
when did you send the agenda? I'm trying to find it again, but it's gone from the now.
The agenda, Maureen, he asked, when did you send him the agenda? It was,
But Dick said yesterday. Did I do that yesterday, Dick?
No, I found it with Tony, but why not just read him the number so we can get
He's
going?
got the number. He's got the number.
Let me try clicking on Tony's email, and I do have that there. Let's see. I remember now that it did come in with Tony. Agenda. It's come up.
okay.
I'm gonna click on it. I'm gonna click on it. You see how it's got during Zoom meetings, the meeting ID is going to, et cetera. But nothing happens when I click on it. But if I highlight it,
No,
Just click on it.
right click. It just says copy.
Not right click, just click.
So how do I? Let me. Maybe I can go to Zoom US and just try to join the meeting with the ID. Zoom.us. And my meeting's upcoming. How about that?
Well, if we can't get you on, we're gonna have to just do you by phone.
Up this way, join. Boom, Jake is with. And
Oh,
There you
look,
go.
he is.
Hello, and thank you for your patience, everyone. Goodbye on the phone.
Bye, Bob.
Nice to see you, Bob.
I'm
Okay.
sorry about all of that. I don't know what the problem was, but the thing, our usual paths were not available to me. So,
Okay, there's
Yeah, yeah.
something weird today. Don't worry about it. Let's just get the minutes approved and move on to the really good materials we have to look at.
yeah,
Somebody
I'm-
give me a motion.
I moved to approve the minutes, which I have
Thank-
read. Yes.
Second,
Second, second.
Paul, and is there any discussion? Thank
No.
you. We pass. Everyone in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, 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 passed.
Aye,
Okay,
aye, aye.
here we go. Number 3. Shall we take the qualifications first? Let's just take a look at that first.
Okay.
And if you have everybody, I hope, has had a chance to look at Dick's revisions. Tell me yes.
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 Okay, love it. What do you think? What do we have to, is there any, what is different on the assessor? Do you want to take care of that? Go ahead, Dick.
Well, just by way of explanation, what I tried to do was go back to what the electeds most recently said and try to the degree possible to reword it in line with what they said. Although, again, remember, Mylene didn't submit anything. And so that's what I did. That's what I did. And that's why I put the comments from the electeds at the bottom of the page. So if you wanted to reference them, it's all here. And in this case, in the case of the assessor, what I did was exactly what John recommended.
Okay, so let me just say something. You just said Mylene did not make a comment. She did indeed.
Oh,
Yeah,
she
she-
did. I didn't mean she didn't make a comment. She didn't propose any minimum
Oh,
qualification.
okay. Okay, so your revised indicates language that came directly from John Kulseth?
Yes.
Okay.
So can I ask a question?
I think David's hand is up
Oh,
first.
I'm sorry.
Sorry, Paul, hang
Okay,
on. Go
go
ahead,
ahead.
David.
Yeah, so
We're just talking about the assessor.
I went through here one by one, and I have notes on every one of them. And on this one, I did notice its exact wording that John Cults has submitted, and that's fine. The only suggestion I have is that instead of just referring to 36.21, that you actually refer to 36.21.015 in parentheses 2, which is the exact. Now it drilled down to the exact paragraph that deals with minimum qualification. That might come out in the drafting later on if it goes onto the ballot. But anyway, my key thing is what Paul has to say about it. Paul, have
Yeah,
you?
let's hear from, let's hear.
No,
Hold
I'm also in agreement with the revised, but I do have a question. What the difference would be between a state license or state certified? I know that when I was assessor, it was a state certified. I don't really know if there's much difference between the two.
Well, we're not.
Well,
Hold on, David, hold on. Go ahead, Dick. You handle this.
well, my understanding is that's why he cited 18.140. And my attitude, Paul, in this was, he's the guy sitting in the office. He's been there for how many years now? And I'm assuming he knows what he's talking about here. And to David's point, if we need to specify the exact section, I think that is the kind of thing that Randy will do for the ballot. So,
Okay.
and we can ask him specifically if we should do that.
Sure. I have no quibble with the way it's stated. It's good.
Okay. It does say 36.21.015 in the A. So, I
Yeah.
mean, that is there. So if you think we should just add that now, because I'm gonna,
Oh, that's a good point. So if we take the revised portion, that RCW is not stated there, don't we want to include that?
well,
My,
Dick, how do
my-
you feel about that? That's for you. I want you to weigh in there.
my reaction again is to leave the broader reference and put the question to Randy. We're aware that section whatever is the specific section, but should we use that, or should we use the broader section number, and let Randy tell us instead of us guessing which is the better way to do it.
Well, my
Go
only
ahead,
my only comment is that we are quoting a law here, so and we've read that law, and it's very articulate on the qualifications. It just seems to me we should drop that into the queue as well.
Why
Okay,
don't we?
I'm looking at it right now, RCW 36.21.015, which reads qualifications for persons assessing property examination waiver, continuing education requirement. Any person having the responsibility of valuing real estate for the purpose of taxation, including persons acting as assistants of blah, blah, blah. So that is the exact revised code section number 36.21.015.
May I suggest something? Why don't we, to get out of this conversation, just put in parentheses or RCW 3621.015 and a little question mark, and then he knows that's his answer to give. All right, let's just leave it at that.
That
Would
sounds
you
good.
agree?
That's fine.
I'm going to reverse it to say RCW, and then I'll put that in.
Yeah, I'm having a little trouble with my audio. I'm going to work around this. So just go on with what you're doing and I'll
We can
do.
hear you just fine too.
Right. You just can't see my beautiful face, probably.
Oh, no, we can see your
Oh, we
beautiful.
Can
got
you?
the-
I can't see
Yeah.
your beautiful faces.
Oh, well, there you
Oh,
go.
that's-
Then you're
yeah.
the lucky guy. Okay, so are we okay with that? Can we, oh, no, we not. Go ahead, Dick.
No, I was just going to propose, because this is the way I did it. Let's skip over auditor, do the others. So you see what's there, and then we'll come back to the auditor, because in fact, that's what I did. I did the others because they had provided specific comments. And then I came back and did the auditor based on those other positions.
Okay, let me ask you this. Are we going to re-vote on this? Are we going to vote on it as a package? Is that what you think?
No,
Hold on. I was just
Well,
asking Dick.
Don't we have to? Because we've changed the wording, so don't
Right,
we?
But are we doing it as a package? We're not going to do it individually.
Oh, no, let's do
As
it
a package.
Yeah,
Package.
okay, as a package. Go ahead, David. Let's do this.
okay, don't put a question mark after 36.2.10105. Randy's going to be reviewing the whole thing anyway. That's his job. We don't have to put a question mark.
Okay, let's
That's
not-
the right section. I just looked at it.
You know
Okay.
what? Let's not get picky here, okay?
Yeah.
Let's just move on, because that kind of stuff will drag us down.
That
Yeah,
was
that's a little picky. That's a little picky. All right, let's go to a county clerk. Is that what you want, Dick?
Yes,
Wait,
yes.
what about what happened to auditor?
We're
I
going to
just
skip
said
that.
we're going to skip over it, Bob, and come back.
Oh, okay. Skip over and come back. Okay.
All right, we're going to county clerk. Okay, assessor.
Okay.
So let's see what you've got here. I'm gonna look at, I'm using your old one just to make sure I understand your corrections.
Well, and this is based on Lisa's point that you, just because you worked at the last language said experience in a law office, she said, that doesn't mean you're qualified to do this. So that last option of 3 years of other responsible experience working in Washington courts is based on what she said. So that you work in a clerk's office or as a deputy or one more year of responsible experience. And the only question I had is, are we making it too demanding if it's 3 years, or is 3 years a reasonable time to have learned everything that's going on in the office? So I wasn't sure whether it ought to be 2 years or 3 years.
Well, it seems to me she is saying 2 years is not enough in her old comments. So maybe that's why you have 3.
Well, yeah, that's why I put 2 years as chief deputy and 3 years for anybody else.
Yeah, I
So
hear you.
that's the reason.
Okay, David, go ahead.
I think it should be a chief deputy in case there may not be the chief deputy, a chief deputy, because some places, particularly under auditor, when we get back to that, there's more than one deputy that because they have the various departments. So just say a chief deputy. And then the other thing is 3 years of responsible experience working in Washington State courts. That's a little bit too broad, because you have stenographers working in the courts.
That's right.
bailiffs working in the courts. You have all-
Bailiffs,
And
uh,
those positions aren't the ones that give you the experience.
you
to
got
be-
witness advocates. Yeah.
So I don't know how you word it, but it has to be more inclusive or exclusive or whatever the right word is. 3 years of relevant experience or something like that. So we don't have bailiffs and stenographers thinking they're qualified.
Okay, first of all, Dick, do you agree to the inserting an A deputy chief, a chief deputy?
I don't think it matters, so yeah, I'm fine with it. And then I have no problem of changing responsible to relevant. 3 years of relevant experience. You know,
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, that's a
Either
good
way.
change.
either word is gonna make it subjective, so, I mean, so what? And they're all pushing for broader or no minimum qualifications, so we can lean that way a little.
Okay, now,
Change
Bob, you
relevant.
wanted to weigh, did you want to say something? You had your hand up a minute ago.
Yeah, it was basically what David was bringing up, which you can have all kinds of experience in a courtroom and it have nothing to do with being a clerk or qualifying you with being a clerk. And so I think that Dick's
Relevant.
change to relevant takes care of it.
Okay, very good. I got that change.
Paul had his hand up.
Oh, go ahead,
Paul.
Paul.
So the revised shows you either have to be either in the clerk's office itself or where's itself in here? Or in the Washington courts. And the previous one that was done, it talks about experience in the law office or equivalent setting. And I know that she said that really doesn't do the point, but that's exactly where Lisa came from.
Yeah. But
So that I'm a little bit puzzled about that.
I'm not. I think electeds all just kind of argue and, you know, they don't like this coming in. So I think that was just an argument. I'm sorry. I
Well, it
see
makes-
two changes. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Paul.
Well, I'm just saying it's a little bit tight, just the way it is, so without going on any further than those two experiences. They don't include any kind of experience in working in the law office.
Go ahead, Dick.
Where did she come from, Paul? I forgot.
Well, she came through Lindy's office, John Lindy's office.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But
Go ahead, Bob.
I don't think that we ought to draw the conclusion that a person coming from an unqualified place that turns out to be a really great person in this spot means that it's okay to have no qualifications. I think that the next person that comes from an unqualified place may be a total waste of time. So I think it's a good idea to have the qualifications in there and have the appropriate ones. And law office, I may not be an appropriate one as as appropriate as what we've got here in the red.
Go ahead, Dick.
Well, let me suggest, it just occurs to me, and in the last one, I think we should also change responsible to relevant. Other relevant experience working in Washington courts could be an attorney or someone in an attorney's office.
Are you saying, are
That's
you
right.
saying change or 3 years of relevant experience in the office? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, that both of those
Yeah.
places where we use responsible, change it to relevant.
Got it. Got it.
And
Okay.
and I think you can make an argument that if you're working in a law office and have anything to do with going to court, you meet that requirement.
Yeah, that would be different though. There's other people in the law office that never go to court. And I know that's what you're talking about. You're talking
Yeah.
about the ones who do go to court, the paralegals and the attorneys.
I don't think we're trying to narrow it down to the gnats behind. I mean, we're trying to move in the direction of getting somebody who actually has some qualification and an experience to be there. And we can't be so precise that it's just a very small group of people. I mean,
That's true.
what we're doing is, in my mind, is reducing the risk of getting an unqualified person.
Well, I think that's good. I also think we're trying to create a baseline because there's nothing. It's just
Yeah.
they're void of any kind of reasonable qualification. Go ahead, David.
Well, I see that you have accommodated the suggestions of Lisa, you've removed the law office experience. That's basically what her comments were. So I think we're fine with what you proposed with this change of relevant, responsible to relevant.
I agree. I think it's good.
We move on.
I think we
Yeah.
move on. Thank you. Are we good? Are you good with that, Dick?
Yes,
Okay, so we're on to, there's no change in the sheriff. Correct? The treasurer. Let's look at the treasurer's description here.
Okay, can we back up for just a second? This thing on the sheriff about the training that you have to get within 1 year of getting the office is not a qualification of the office. Let's stop saying that it is. A qualification of the office is something you have to meet when you walk in the door. And that's not what this is. This is a requirement for training after you get hired,
I agree.
not a qualification by any means.
Go ahead, Dick.
I'm fine with that. I mean, it's in state law, so it doesn't matter what we say. It's
Sure.
gonna be-
Yeah, it's in
gotta do it.
state law as a requirement for when you come in the office, but it's kind of
Oh.
silly to say it's a qualification because you don't have to have it in order to be elected, right? That's what
Yeah.
qualifications is.
I guess so, yeah.
That's fine.
So what do you want to say? How do we?
Take that part
you want
out.
to say you fulfill all the requirements in RCW blah, blah, and then 2 years of experience?
Yeah.
Well, what we have right now is proposed qualifications shall be all the training.
I know,
set
but
out.
so we take out that and just say, must be able to fulfill all qualifications in RCW, blah, blah.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, if there are some, are there some?
I think it says, it lays out the training and other things. I believe that's what it was read.
If you want to
David,
just
do you
take
have that?
Yeah, I have it in front of me. It actually doesn't make sense the way 3628.025 reads, because it does say shall have within 12 months of assuming office. It's in here as a qualification, but same way as it's worded by Dick, but it can't be a qualification if you're doing it afterwards.
Of course not. Yeah.
So, I mean, we don't necessarily have to debate that. Why don't we just say shall meet the qualifications of RCW 36.28025 and just leave it at that?
That's what I said.
Here-
That's
here,
just
yeah,
what I said.
Agreed.
Oh, and then what about the 2 years of experience?
That leave in that, but cross out the training and within 12 months of assuming office. Yeah.
Wait a minute, let's just ask Dick. Dick, where'd you go? Richard? He's
I
just,
muted myself. I muted myself because my phone was ringing.
oh, thank you.
Yes, I agree. And except I'd change one word. David used the word qualifications again. I would say meet all the requirements set
Yes,
out in
yes.
3628 and 2 years of experience as a full-time law enforcement officer.
That works.
Okay, I've just looked it up and what we have is they've just erred when they passed this bill and they call it a qualification and it's the only qualification in that section that you have to have that within 12 months. So it's just the incorrect way to say it and we have to just decide what to do about it.
So
So
I
let's just
think-
let's just say requirements,
Yeah.
and if Randy doesn't like it or think it's appropriate, he'll change it.
there you go.
Okay, I got it. Just we're proposed that you meet requirements of Washington state law and RCW, blah, blah, within 12 months of, do you want to leave in assuming that within the 12 months of assuming office? You want to take that out?
I don't think we need to.
No,
You don't-
leave that out. Leave that
Yeah, we'll
out.
take it out. And then we'll just say, and the 2 years,
Yep.
okay?
Yeah,
Are we good with that?
I am.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's-
Thank you.
yeah.
All right, sheriff's good. Let's go to treasurer. Um,
Under the revised, I'm sorry, I should raise my hand.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Paul.
In the second sentence, since where it refers to or county clerk, I'm not sure how that fits in with the treasurer. Are we talking about county clerk as the office county clerk? Or are we using that in the clerk in a different way?
My intention was office of the county clerk because there is financial management involved in that position.
All right.
So do you want to say that? Should we say that?
Um,
Experience in the office of county clerk or,
yeah, we could say that county treasurer, auditor, or office of the,
wait a minute, what is this above in?
oh, no, it's fine because we said the office of. So obviously county clerk means the office of the county clerk. It doesn't mean just any clerk in any office. So it's in the office of treasurer, auditor, or county clerk.
Two
Okay.
places we mentioned county treasurer and county clerk, but we don't use it in county auditor. It's just a little bit.
If you wanna make it clear that you're talking about the county clerk, just capitalize all that. Capitalize county treasurer, capitalize auditor, capitalize county clerk, and then you're talking about a specific person, not a generic clerk.
Yeah, that's a good point, Bob.
Can I comment, please? I got my hand up.
I'm sorry, go ahead, David.
I think you'll need to change responsible to relevant again.
Relevant, yeah.
And that would help with the county clerk issue because it wouldn't be, they would have to have relevant experience in the county clerk's office, not just any experience.
Good point.
I'm good with that.
And then there's a typo. It's experience in the office.
Right.
And
I left that out just so you could find it, David.
thank you.
And by golly, he did.
Now, Dick, we don't have a visual on you. Did you take your video off?
Not intentionally.
Okay, so we just have your name.
There
There
you
you
go.
There you
are.
go. Thank you.
It's-
I like your reaction when you make a comment like that. It's good to see you, tongue in cheek there. Okay, so we got this corrected. Proposed qualification shall be 2 years of relevant experience in the office of Washington Capital County Treasurer, Capital Auditor, Capital County Clerk. Is that it? Those are the changes?
Now that'll work.
Okay. Okay, good. So now, do we go back to auditor?
Back to auditor.
All right. Okay,
And in this one, you can see, again, I did the after the or 2/3, because I thought we ought to discuss that. What's the appropriate time period?
and I think we should assume that responsible is now relevant.
Yeah,
Hmm.
What do you think, Bob? You're humming here.
Yeah. Well, what would is the problem that somebody might be excluded if we said 3 years?
no, what I was getting at was if you're the chief deputy, and I don't know where the word chief came from, it's just if you're the deputy auditor, but anyway, if you're the deputy auditor, you know what the hell's going on because you're supposed to be able to function in the absence of the auditor. So my only question was, well, if you're not the chief deputy, should a little more experience be required? If we want 2 years as the chief deputy, should it be 3 years if you're in some other position in the office?
I think so.
Just a clarification.
Go ahead,
Richard?
Paul.
Richard, all employees for any elected official are deputies. They do clerks, but the chief deputy is the head of the deputies before you get to the elected person.
That's-
Okay,
So it makes no sense to say 2 years as the chief deputy or 2 years as anybody else. It
Right,
makes no sense. So
Right.
you want to say 2 years as a chief deputy or 3 years as anyone else.
And to Paul's point, if that's true, then in all of them where we've said deputy, we should say chief deputy.
If you want to talk about who's next in line
The
to the
hierarchy.
top, he kind of
Yeah.
looks over the rest of the deputies.
Right, who's
Yeah,
who's
it's-
there as the legal backup to
Yeah,
the.
there can't be more than one. Yeah.
We always
Yes.
refer to the sheriff's department, when we talk about deputies. Okay, his deputies. Well, they're that way for all the elected officials. They're all deputies.
Can I comment?
Oh, go ahead, David.
My
I was
under-
looking-
My understanding is in the auditor's office, you have various sub-departments, whatever we want to call them, elections and the auditing and what are the other, there's a couple of others that Mylene has always talked about. She has a very,
Licensing.
licensing and all of it. So there very well could be deputies in charge of the various functions of the auditor's office. There's a deputy for elections. There's somebody who's in charge of election. There's somebody in charge of auditing. There's somebody in charge of this. So I think you have to say as a deputy, and not the deputy. There may be departments that have only one deputy, but there's certainly departments that have more than one deputy.
Well,
A
I'm sorry.
deputy is a deputy.
Go ahead, Dick,
Yeah, but
How-
chief
please.
deputy and chief deputy imply there's only one, whereas
David,
there-
hold on.
There,
Hold on.
there would be only one chief deputy.
No,
Dick, go ahead,
how about, I mean, I think Paul's point is well taken. How about, because we know in the auditor's office, there are multiple deputies. How about if we say a chief deputy? Because then if those, 4 deputies in the auditor's office, each one is considered a chief deputy of that division, then we're covered. And again, what I would say is if Randy thinks it's unclear, he's going to raise it. So
Okay,
I would recommend that we say as a chief deputy in each of these,
in each of what?
each of the offices where we've used the term deputy.
I only see it in the county clerk.
Okay,
You have chief deputy there, and you have it in there.
yeah, and so what I'm saying, for instance, is it doesn't apply in the assessor, clerk, treasurer.
Oh.
Oh, yeah, okay, we're covered if we,
Yeah,
yeah, we are, we're good.
Yeah. it looks good. All right. Oh, David?
I think that this first part of where it refers to 2 years as deputy or chief deputy or one of the deputy, whatever, is actually can be deleted because you go on to say, or 2 to 3 years of other relevant experience. Well, if you're a deputy, you have relevant experience. So it's kind of repeating itself here. I would just take out the
Hold on.
reference to a deputy.
Go ahead, Dick.
Yeah, this is the point we discussed a few minutes ago. It's only repeating itself if we make it 2 years for the other. If we
Right.
make it 3 years, then we're making the distinction between a chief deputy and someone who works under a chief deputy.
Right.
Okay, then make it 3 years for other relevant experience then. Okay.
Right.
Okay,
All
Right.
right, take out the 2.
Right.
Yeah.
Whoa. So at the bottom,
Go ahead, Paul.
are you saying you should take out the 3 years of other responsible experience working in Washington courts?
We're on.
No.
Oh, I thought we were on the
I'm
other.
sorry, I'm reading
Right,
the wrong
auditor.
one. Or 3 years of experience in accounting or financial management, excuse me. You leaving that in?
You can
It's-
keep that
it's-
in.
in the second one, where it says or 2/3 years, we're saying take out the 2.
Right.
Or
it should be
3 years of other relevant experience, et cetera.
Right, right.
I leave that in.
And you have to know one thing, the current situation in the auditor's office, there is only one deputy. And that's the most recently hired person for a deputy auditor. There's a election supervisor, there's a licensing person, but there's no deputy. They don't call them deputies over there.
Okay,
All right, all right, so I got these corrections, and we're good with that then. We're good with auditor?
Yeah,
I am,
All right,
Yep.
so does that mean that's all of it?
yes.
All
Yeah,
right,
looks like it is.
so given those, do I
So-
hear,
I move that we adopt the revised language as edited, amended in this meeting as the language that goes forward.
Second.
Call the vote.
Hold
I'm
on.
go- Listen, I'm going to vote for it, but I really, I've got a kind of psychic objection to this thing about the sheriff calling it a qualification. Calling it a qualification, even though it says it in the statute.
We didn't, Bob. We changed it to requirement.
Okay,
Let me be sure I understand what you just said. Oh, yeah, meet the requirements of Washington state law. That's it. That's the way it reads.
And
Who seconded that?
if you fire it out, Maureen, I'll take a look at it and
Okay,
make sure.
I'll do that. I'll do that. Who seconded? I'm sorry, I'm trying to do all of it here. Paul did. Okay, thank you. Paul D. second. All right. Any further discussion? Yes, go ahead, Dick.
Did, just refresh my memory, did the full commission approve this? What was the status when we presented it? What did we leave with?
It was left because of the comments that were introduced that morning when we did the day we presented this. We agreed to take this back and revise it. And they called it up last week and I said, we are not done revising it and we will have
Okay.
it.
Right,
It'll be
that's right.
scheduled the next time, whenever they.
So we have to bring it back, yeah, okay.
Yes, yes. Okay,
Well,
if there's no further discussion, call the question? No.
yes,
Bob?
yeah, yes, I mean,
Oh, okay.
yes, call the question.
Only
Let's go.
question, all those in favor say aye?
Aye.
Aye, okay,
Unanimous.
okay. All righty, now let's go on to the next headache here, which is the sheriff. So did you get that was a good eye thing. That was a Popeye look in your face there, Bob.
I know, I can't help it.
Did you get the sheet I sent through with the pros and the cons?
It's really good.
Yes.
Okay,
oh, when was that? No,
it was sent with all of this, with the agenda, the minutes, everything.
Yeah, it was a
Like this.
package,
oh,
part of the package.
Let me
Okay.
see if I can share it this time. See,
no,
it's-
then I just didn't notice it was there, my fault.
Not my fault.
No, I said my fault.
No, I know. I'm glad you're taking responsibility.
oh, good. I cannot get my computer to share the screen. So if you have a copy, let's have a look at it. It's got the pros and the cons next to each other, so you can see it a little bit better.
I'll find it.
Okay.
That doesn't help, David.
Oh, Lord.
Bob, I like it that you print these things out like I do.
I
Yeah,
I'm old school, old
You know,
school.
It avoids the hunt all over the place for it on your computer. You just
I know.
Now, I don't know that we can do all that much with this. We have already done it. I have to get this sent to the whole commission. I got to send it today. So I just need to know if you want to tweak anything on this so that we can do that now. Besides your formatting changes.
Are we supposed to be discussing whether or not we want the sheriff to be elected or appointed? I mean,
Yes, because it was brought back to the table and there is going to be a vote this Wednesday.
here's my recollection of what happened. I was, I was originally on the side of appointed, right? And that's what I did. I when we did the pros and cons, and I remember David sent out a email after I did mine, and he said, "Boy, these are so convincing. I may change my position." Then he did his, and I read those, and I thought, "Those are so convincing. I'm going to change my position." And I ended up making the motion to keep just before we closed out, making the motion to keep the sheriff elected, and rather than take a vote on it, they sent it back to us. So that's my But
It
what
was
happened?
a pretty raucous discussion that never really got finished. I mean, there was a lot of hands coming up.
And the sheriff
so-
was right there too, of course.
He was with us, yeah, he
Yeah.
was very much a part of it. And that was very good of him. I mean, that was not an easy thing to sit through.
Yeah.
However, what Kevin said is that we are going to take a vote this week.
Oh.
Does everyone remember that? I heard him say that. And he also asked me to
I
send,
believe you're right.
and he asked me to send the pro and con from Bob and David to the full commission. So I want to get this to them before Wednesday. I want to get it out today. Go ahead, David.
Maureen, I already sent you my comments to this.
I know, I didn't agree with him.
I'm gonna repeat my comments because you asked for comments and others can hear the comments. Under findings, you have here still, and we talked about this before, and there are a lot of, people wonder, why are we saying this? It says, as an elected official, the sheriff can concentrate more efforts on law enforcement priorities. Election also removes a position from council and administration intrusion. Well, first of all, that's a very weak argument for being elected. I think a lot of.
David, we went through these and we made changes in this already as
Okay.
a committee.
Slow down, slow down. We agreed to this, we put it in there, that's fine, it's in the minutes, wherever. But it is a con or a pro, excuse me. It should be listed as one of the pros. It's not really a finding. It's a pro that supports our decision to continue to have this position be elected. So it's not a finding. It should be listed under the pros. And I didn't list it there because I don't believe it is a good pro, but it is a pro. And I think it needs to be put under the pros. It's kind of misplaced as a finding. That's my comment. And you said you didn't with it, but I think that's where it belongs.
Go ahead, Bob.
David, are you talking about the second sentence only or the whole finding there?
Oh, well.
Because the reason I
Just
ask is the second sentence.
The second and third sentence. The first.
I don't
sentence-
even believe that the second sentence is true necessarily. The first sentence is very strong.
Well, wait a minute,
Responsible to the voters.
Everybody hold on. We went through this, we amended all of the changes that we made. This was put in as a finding. And whether they're strong or weak, it was already a finding. It's almost not relevant when you look at the pro and con list. I just think it has a place. If you want to argue that second sentence, there's an argument for it. But taking things out of that right now is less important to me than going at the pros and cons. Go ahead, Dick.
Yeah, I kind of think at this point it doesn't matter. I mean, the full commission has heard this. We know there are strong feelings on both sides, and it's going to go the way it's going to go.
Yeah.
In fact, do we? And we voted where we are on this elected versus appointed, didn't we? So we don't need to revisit that, do we?
Only in response to people saying that's not a good pro.
No. I mean, the basic question of whether the sheriff should remain elected or be appointed, we decided to stay
Right.
elected.
Yes, we did.
Yeah,
Correct.
I am not even sure that come this Wednesday, that we are all going to participate in another long-winded argument about the pros and cons. I suspect he's going to shove us towards a vote. I mean, that's my sense here.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's not clear to me why we're even discussing this again. We had our vote. We brought it up with them. It's going to come up again. What else do we have to do? I don't want to go back and re-argue this all over again.
Yeah, me either. I don't either. Go ahead, David.
No, the exercise we were asked to do by Maureen a week or two ago was to prepare us for this discussion so that we could respond appropriately when we were defending our recommendation. And that's why she asked Bob to come up with the cons. That was so we could prepare, we could hear them, we could discuss them, and then we could prepare our responses to each of those cons. And that's what I was asked to do. And I have the corresponding pros that supposedly counteract the cons of Bob. So it wasn't that we were going to revisit our decision necessarily, Dick. As you say, and Maureen says, we made our mind up, but we were going to be better prepared if we had the pros and cons in front of us. So if that was the real purpose, which I think it is, if we have time and people want to do it, we just go through these just to review and prepare ourselves for our.
But David, we had that discussion last Wednesday or Thursday. When was it? Bob read his out there. He read it out loud.
We haven't
And-
discussed pros.
That was very frustrating to me, by the way. I
Yes.
read my part, but I thought that David's responses were excellent. And even though I was putting forward my part, I thought he should do his, and they didn't let him. And that
Yeah.
was
Which is why they were asked to send this to them.
yeah.
That's why Kevin said he wanted this to go to. So I really don't think we're going to have a massive discussion on Wednesday about this. Go
How's
ahead.
the
David.
vote going to go?
Well, so maybe, given that, what we want to do is, if in the full meeting, it turns out we are going to have a discussion, then we as a committee could say, look, last time we had Bob present the cons, but we didn't have time or whatever for David to do the pros. So before we go into this discussion, that's the first thing that should happen.
Yeah, that's where we left off.
I would say that's correct.
Mhm.
So,
Well, I think if they get this, and if we can get somebody to put it on screen share, that may be appropriate. I mean, we'll certainly put that to Kevin. I'll suggest that and let David, talk about what he wrote. But I don't want this to go into another 35-minute discussion again on Wednesday. Go
yeah,
ahead.
and I don't think you even need to suggest that we do that. We just play it by ear and see where Kevin and the commission want to go with this. If they don't want to even talk about it, if they're just ready to vote, I'm fine with that. They know where we stand. They got it in writing. But if they want to, then we should say, well, wait a minute. You only listened to the cons. You never heard the pros.
That's.
But I don't
that's
think we
good.
should propose that.
Okay, that's fine.
I like
I
that.
got it. Okay, so if there's nothing more we want to do with this, I'll get this out to the full commission today. And we'll just see what happens on Wednesday, and we'll see if it's on the agenda. I've seen no agendas for this week. And of course, I got messed up. I thought that the town halls were this week, but they're not. They're in 2 weeks, so I got confused on that. So if you're good with that, we'll just do that, all right?
And we just have Wednesday. We're not going Thursday, right? There's no meeting Thursday?
Oh, yes, there is.
I didn't see it on the calendar.
That calendar's messed up, I'm telling you.
Oh, okay.
The calendar I
my-
clicked on didn't have this meeting on it. That didn't have my meeting tomorrow on there. So it had a blank, like we had stopped meeting or something.
Huh,
Oh, I found this meeting on the calendar, Bob.
We're looking at different calendars, I think. Mine is at the bottom of Outlook.
Yeah.
yeah, that's where mine is. Mine won't
that's what I
open.
use.
Mine is empty, I'm telling you, because I went there to try and find the thing to click on, and the meeting wasn't even in there for
You
today.
might want to contact IT.
did.
Oh, okay.
I called Catherine. That's as far as I want to go. Have her
She's
take
not
care of it.
IT.
I know, but she knows the problem and she can take care of it. I'm busy, you know.
Okay,
I-
gotcha.
I think this site is glitchy anyway.
Yes,
I mean,
thank you.
There's several parts of the way it works that I think are just dumb. And I don't know if that's Microsoft. I think it's Microsoft, not the county, but it's just counterintuitive.
It is, and it's also weird sensitive. I hit a lot of my stuff goes into deleted folders.
Oh,
Well, I'm in the middle of an email, it deletes itself.
And what's the deal about you send an email to somebody, it pops up in the long list of emails, and as soon as somebody else uses it, refers to it, it gets pulled out and gets stuck in that string, and you can't find it anymore.
I know,
That-
exactly
And
right.
that is one of the most
Annoying.
frustrating aspects of this website.
That's
It's-
really stupid.
And then you have to
It is.
dig for the attachments, which are piled on top of each other like a bunch of books. You know, it's hard. It's not an easy system to
I
do.
should call IT and say, is there a way to change that? You know, individually, can we have the option, like in the old Outlook, to keep the whole string of emails? So when we're looking for something, it's easy to find instead of this absurd system that stacks them.
You have to figure out who might have looked at that, you know, and go
Yeah.
over to,
Yeah.
I know.
You know, it's very
crazy.
weird. When weird things get put into a stream, you know, I don't know why. That leads me to the last question. If the sheriff thing happens and if the requirements happen this week, do you want to continue meeting? Is there any reason to continue meeting? This could be one committee we can maybe close and say we're done. So what are your thoughts on that?
Oh, I think we could meet every Monday and have coffee and just chat.
yeah,
Dick, I want
Oh,
to
I'll
pictures
send
of
my
dog.
avatar.
10 o'clock every Monday and ask what time the meeting is. I'll miss that.
You know, I think probably what you could do, Maureen, is just announce to Kevin at the time after we do all this. This was our last item, and subject to anybody's disapproval for some reason, we're going to terminate the activities of the meeting. That doesn't mean we cannot be reinstated at the last minute when something comes up that is in our bailiwick. But right now, there isn't anything, is there?
No,
So,
when we're done with these two items, we're done.
I mean,
I
we have
think-
enough to do.
Oh, except the county manager. That has not yet been voted on, has it?
I don't think so.
Go ahead, Dick.
No.
Well, I was just gonna say, maybe the term we ought to use is say, we're suspending our meetings until or unless we are called upon to revisit something or take up something new.
We're in suspended animation.
Yeah. So we
Uh,
just,
Another good part of that is, seriously, it does open up that time slot for some other group like my process group to have 2 or 3 meetings in a week to try and get things done.
Oh, that'd be fine.
That would open our slot right now up to other people, including the full commission, if necessary.
Well, you know, we didn't announce that we stopped meeting in operations because we were done. We just are done. We just let it go. And I guess I have to do something about that meeting space to cancel it. So that's a good idea. But I love the word suspended. It reminds me of so many things in my youth.
Oh, you
So,
had things
Like your driver's license.
suspended from school, suspended driver's
Suspended.
license.
The nuns were always doing that to me. Anyway,
Which nuns were they?
Charity, Sisters of Charity.
I had Ursuline nuns. for 7
Oh, I
years
remember them.
St.
yes.
Joseph,
At the
St.
Immaculate
Joseph.
Conception School. Are we all Catholics, for goodness sakes?
We once were.
Once were, that's what, yeah, I was a lapsed Catholic, I think at age 12, something like that. When I reached the age of reason, you know?
Well, yeah, I think that's a good idea. I could mention that we will suspend and maybe offer the time slot if that works for another committee. I think that's a good idea.
Yeah.
All right. Having said that, I see no other business in front of us. Do we have any guests joining us today? Any public members that would like to speak? Hearing none,
Should we plan a reunion or something?
I think so.
A year from now?
You have all been wonderful. And I miss Tony today. I think, go ahead,
Yeah.
Dick.
I do think when this is all over, we have to somehow organize an in-person meeting of all 18 of us. We have to do that.
Yes.
I
that's a good-
think David is the only person in this committee that I've met in person. And yet I feel like I know you guys and would know you better than some of, well, because of our experiences over the last, was it year and a half or whatever it is? Wow.
Yeah, yeah.
Unbelievable.
I know.
No, year and a half?
No,
No.
just seems that long.
I'm confused. It's the
The November
pandemic
election.
that's a year and a half. Oh,
Oh my God.
Well, we did that last time, the last commission. We had a party like of sorts, we met at a restaurant and just had a cup of cheer. At least those that were in the majority did that. And it was very nice. It was just nice to be friends.
Was there a big minority report or several minority reports or,
There was a minority report. Yeah,
and did it lead
but
to
there was a,
competing ordinances? I mean, competing amendments on
no,
the ballot?
no. It led to a lawsuit. The minority sued the county for the outcome of the last election. And they lost it ultimately. It went all the way up to the Supreme Court, but they lost.
Is that the
That was a more contentious commission
It was.
than
Yeah.
this one.
It
I
was.
mean, we have disagreement, but I think it's been a respectful, amiable group of people.
Sure, yeah.
And it was a very small minority, but they were very noisy. Go ahead, David.
So we have a few minutes, I hope. I wanted, Paul sent around a very interesting
Yes.
document today, and it kind of got me rethinking something that we already decided. The document it was actually focused, as Randy said, on the coroner, whether the coroner could be appointed or elected or whatever. But it did in the beginning of that section, or that RCW, it talked about all the other positions that shall be elected: auditor, assessor, clerk, treasurer,
All of
etc.,
them.
elected. And I got reading that and I said, well, wait a minute, if the RCW says that, why did we even debate whether it's elected or appointed? So I got wondering, so could you clarify for me, going way back when we discussed elected versus appointed, what was the provision? Maybe charter counties are different where they can decide between elected and appointed, because what Paul sent around seemed to imply, no, they're only can be elected, not appointed.
Randy answered that. Go ahead, Dick.
That's what I was gonna say. I gave Paul my legal opinion and Randy agreed with me that the
Mark your calendar.
the charter statute provides that charter governments are different. And having worked for the state for a lot of years and dealt with a lot of state statutes, I will tell you, it's frustrating sometimes when you see these apparent conflicts in state law, but then if you pursue them, and I had the advantage, I could always talk to a deputy attorney general. They'll refer you to a court case or some other piece of statute that had referenced that and rectified the conflict. But Randy made it clear, charter counties can do it.
Yeah, well,
It's in the Constitution now, an amendment to the Constitution.
and the lead in the thing Paul sent around was, it said, unless otherwise provided. So that would be the unless otherwise provided. County,
Okay.
charter county
Probably.
Right.
do it. Okay.
Yeah.
But that was interesting.
Well, I hope I didn't upset everybody by sending that around to you.
Not at all, Paul. Not at all. It was fine. Okay. Well, you're a treasure, all of you. This was a nice group. I'm going to start.
Maureen, you're a wonderful chairperson. I really, really, really do believe that. So organized and
Oh, yeah.
really got us
Much
going.
appreciated.
That's
I have a motion to make.
terrific.
That is that we all invite Maureen out to dinner sometime in the next 5 years when we're all able to get together. That all first to thank her for her leadership and patience and everything else that she has shown. So that's my motion.
Very sweet.
I would third that.
Oh,
You can't vote, Maureen. You can't vote. All in favor? Yeah.
okay, good. Dick, what are you going to say?
Well, I have some reservations there because I think we have to question her sanity because she's done this twice now in 10 years. And so if you really want to go to dinner with a person who might be mentally unstable,
That's where we'll have our reunion, the
Yes.
next charter.
Yeah, at the Psychiatric Institute that I've.
No.
I know, we could do that.
We'll all run again in 10 years.
Oh, God, not me.
And
I'll
by
go back to back.
I'll be 83 you know, so that's
Oh,
good.
And it-
God.
That by definition is insanity. You're
There
absolutely
you
right.
go. There you go. Did anybody, by the way, change the term? I mean, there was talk about changing the term of the years between the next commission. Did anybody, is that on anybody's? committee?
I
Well,
think-
the years
I think
between
that-
are 10 years or whatever period of time we want to do is what it says, basically.
Yeah,
It
that's what
already
I-
says that.
And
Yeah.
there was, early on, that was one of the things that was on the table, and whatever committee had it, they just said,
Let it
no,
go."
we're not
Okay.
forwarding that.
Yeah.
Okay. I
because it
think
would have to
5
be-
years is too soon to make changes. I think that's hard on the public. Anyway, so let's adjourn. Thank you all.
All
so
right.
much.
Thank you.
Enjoy
Bye.
your
See
trip.
you on
All of
Wednesday, I guess.
End the recording. We probably
the
should have
recording.
ended it 5 minutes ago.